Welcome back, Pokemon Trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it's currently Tuesday, July 5th, which means I'm a day late on this, but it's time for this week's Pokemon News Update video thingy. Now, first of all, I want to say happy late 4th of July to all my American viewers out there. The big Independence Day celebration was yesterday, and happy even later Canada Day to all my Canadian viewers out there who celebrated Canada Day back on Friday. Now, the first thing to mention is I do have a booster pack opening coming up at the end of the video. It's going to be from the BREAKpoint expansion. And as always, the Pokemon TCG Online code card is going to go to a lucky viewer who participates in the question of the day, which I will give you towards the end of the video as I open this up. But first things first, I do want to mention, well, first, before I get into even the old question of the day, I just want to say I am back from Animaritime now. As I mentioned in yesterday's quick news update thingy about the new Pokemon that came out, I got back in town. I was researching the news update for today, or technically yesterday, but when I saw how much news there was to mention, there's a whole lot of it, and I had to sort of get things organized and arranged. It was going to be like way later into the day before the upload would be made, so I thought I just want to get the more timely information out there. And over the weekend while I was away, that is when all the new Pokemon dropped and some new information about Sun and Moon came out, so I thought I want to get that one done first. We'll push the news update back to a day later, which is what we're doing right today. So, last week's question of the day was, what is your favorite / least favorite thing about summer? This is in reference to the fact that I got a pretty nasty sunburn the week before, or maybe just a few days before that, and it's pretty much gone now, I think. But we're getting back to the phase where I don't retain any color, and I'm going back to my usual pale skin self, which it's what I've come to know about myself. I accept it, whatever. Anyways, so there were 3 code cards to give out last time. The winner of the Ancient Origins booster pack code card was a viewer by the name of Austin, or just Austin perhaps. I don't know if you pronounce the O's or not. But Austin says, I love the good fishing, and I don't like the heat, though kind of a problem when you like fishing, LOL. So of course you're going out on the fishing boat or wherever you go fishing at in the nice warm weather. If you don't like the heat, I suppose that could be sort of a detriment, but as I mentioned, maybe on like a rainy day, I think I've heard that some fish become more active because they think the raindrops are little bugs landing on the water, so they become a little bit more active. So maybe a cool rainy day might not be a bad day to go fishing as well. So Austin did win the Ancient Origins. The Breakthrough Booster Pack code card was gone to a viewer by the name of Mr. Alden. Mr. Alden says, my favorite thing about summertime is longer days. It gives more daylight to get things done. And that is right. How many times have we gone home at the end of a day and, excuse me, the sun is already set and you don't feel like there's anything left that can be accomplished in the day? Now, go home that same time of day in summertime, the sun is still just starting to set, and you get the image that, there's still so much more left of my day to experience. And the winner of the Mythical Pokemon Collection Manaphy was a viewer by the name of Unknown Spike, who says, my favorite things about summer are to go to the beach, spending time with my friends and family, playing soccer with my friends, traveling with my family, and wearing our t-shirts and shorts. My least favorite things about summer are the heat, the annoying bugs, and the sunburns. So, kind of the same 3 things that I don't like about summer. I'm not so much sure about the heat. Like, yeah, the heat can be bad, but I kind of enjoy it on occasion. I don't like the heat that is just kind of like, swarming around you and there's no breeze, you don't get any sort of like breath of fresh air or anything like that. So that could be a bad thing about summer as well, but generally, I like the heat as long as there's ways you can cool yourself off and it's not a perpetual hanging heat, if you know what I'm talking about. So, Unknown Spike did get the code for the Manaphy collection, which is a nice unlocking of two generation booster packs, the Manaphy card itself, and I think card sleeves and a deck box as well in the online game. So congratulations to all 3 winners, Austin, Mr. Alden, and Unknown Spike. Thanks for participating in the question of the day, and stay tuned for the one coming up for this week's Breakpoint booster pack opening. Now, in general news, I will say, as I mentioned, I got back from Animaritime. My intention was, now this is where I sort of have to give an apology in a way. I don't know if it's needed or not, but so I went into the weekend of the anime convention with so many ideas in mind. I wanted to try to accomplish so much stuff, and I will admit I got sidetracked and I kind of lost track of stuff and all that. And my biggest intention this year was to go and do a video recap, like a vlog of my trip there. And it was going okay for the first little bit. I'd record certain things like, when I'm going to attend this panel or going out to get, dinner with these people and stuff like that, I would film a little bit of a clip. But partway into day 2, so day 1 kind of went okay that way. Day 2, I was starting to do it. I recorded the full masquerade, which is the costume contest, right up until just before the end, at which point my battery on the camera just died out, and I had to wait for the phone to recharge, so I really wasn't able to record any more, vlog parts at that point for the rest of the day. And I just kind of fell off it at that point, because now, sitting here in my, I'm going to call it lab or studio, my room basically, I feel okay doing some videos. I get kind of flustered here and there a little bit, so I do some edits, of course, but I don't know, just somehow I felt a little more awkward out there trying to film stuff, in like a setting like that, and it's something I'm going to have to break myself eventually of, because I do want to start doing videos when Pokemon Go comes out, which should be pretty soon, and going out and about, trying to capture these Pokemon, and filming myself doing it, or having somebody film me actually, because I'm going to be hunting down the Pokemon, of course. So I didn't get to do the recap that I was hoping to for Animaritime, and I'll say, like, Animaritime was great this year, but my own personal inclusion in it felt a little bit underwhelming because I tried to do too many things at once, and this isn't anything on the convention itself. I'm not saying it was a bad convention. My experience there just wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be because I tried to spread myself out too thin. I had hopes of doing the vlogs, I had hopes of wearing my costumes a lot more and getting photos taken. I wanted to get a lot more video and photos of the costumes there because there's some amazing costumes, and I didn't even buy anything in the vendor alley or the artist alley or the vendor room. I got one thing, but that was a gift for somebody else, and there was so much that I would have liked to do, and I didn't accomplish it all. Or I did some, but to just a more reduced amount. And so I think the next time that I go to one of these conventions, I do want to sort of go in with a schedule and say from 3 to 4 this day, I'm going to be filming, some background footage or something like that. From 4 to 5 this day, I'm going to wear my costume around, get some photos taken. 5 to 6, do photos of myself. Well, not myself, but do photos of my own of other people in costumes. So if I had more of a schedule, I guess it probably would have been a little more better flow of the weekend, and I could have accomplished a lot more things. As far as not getting anything in the vendor's room, though, nothing there really caught my eye. I usually like to go to conventions, buy at least one take-home item from the vendor room or the artist alley, just to sort of commemorate my time there, and nothing there really did catch my eye this year, so there was nothing that I was like, if I don't bring this home with me, I'm going to regret it. I was like, nothing really appealed to my taste this year, which is kind of what happens some years, maybe not everything, everything in the vendor room doesn't always appeal to everybody there, of course, so I just decided, no, you know what, I'm just going to go with just getting that one gift for a friend of mine, my nephew actually. I'd like to show it off. You could actually see it in yesterday's Pokemon Silver episode. Tiny little figure sitting on the back of the desk next to Wartortle. I'm not going to say what it was, but feel free to check the video out and see what I'm talking about. But what all did I do for Animaritime? So I don't have the full video vlog recap footage stuff to compile things together, but I do have a basic rundown of what I did. So for example, Friday, what all did I do Friday? I know I wore my Bowser costume for a little bit because a friend of mine who I was staying with had a plushie making panel where she was showing people how to make plush Boos and plush Lumas from the Super Mario series. And I thought, I'm going to throw the Bowser suit on and just barge in there and take over. Now, of course, I didn't take over. I did barge in. I tried in the big Bowser suit to sort of stitch a Boo together. That didn't go so well. But I had fun, and the attendees enjoyed seeing Bowser trying anyway. So I wore Bowser. I wore some of the other costumes a little bit on Friday. And I got a brief little write-down of what I've done. There were a couple of Pokemon 3DS meetups, and that was another thing that I didn't get to do much of either, because as I mentioned for the past little while on the channel, my 3DS is kind of busted in a way right now. The battery does not hold a charge, and I can only use it while plugged in. So the downside to the 3DS meetup was the fact that the Pokemon players were in the middle of the room, this big sort of a, what would you call it, like a convention hall sort of a room thing, and there were no plugs. So in order for me to participate, I had to sit off to the side, plug my game in, and I don't think anybody really knew that I was even there. I was just off to the side with my own game, and it felt a little weird in a way, because I'm just sending out, the occasional battle invite. Didn't want to impose on anybody, but I did have a few battles on Saturday, I think it was, and I think it shows that, I've brought Pokemon up from the old Game Boy Advance game, so they know some attacks from back then that they can't know in the current generation, and it was kind of funny. I wonder if my first opponent knew that, because as soon as I had Stinger the Beedrill go for Endure, there was a communication error, which I assume would mean that the opponent just, turned their game off or whatever. So maybe they knew that Beedrill can't currently learn Endure and thought I was hacking the game or something. I don't know. Anyway, I had a few battles. The only battle that I had that went the full time was a pretty good one, and I think I won 4-0. It wasn't like a tournament or anything, it was just a fun, friendly battle. But I was happy in that battle because my Onyx Medusa got to do a lot. I think she took out 2 Pokemon at the end to win the match. And usually you don't see Onyx doing anything of note at all. So it was kind of cool Medusa managed to get some KOs like that. So that was something that I did, and what else have I done? Well, I did watch the Masquerade, the full costume contest. I do have that all recorded, and if the quality is decent, I might upload it later on in the week as a nice, full upload of the whole thing. It's like probably, I got about an hour or so of footage right up until it cuts out at the end, so I might, if I do put this together, leave the ending off because we didn't get to see the full amount of people on stage as the winners. But I did record every one of the walk-ons and presentations and skits that they did. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, just leave me a comment below and let me know, and I can see if I can compile it together and upload it for a later upload in the week. And I also played in, on Sunday, a Pokemon TCG tournament. I did use my Marowak break deck. Now, we only had 6 participants, so it wasn't a super full-fledged tournament, but we had enough people that we had 3 rounds, and I was quite happy to get 2nd place out of all 6 of us. So, one of my favorite moments... Sorry about that, the camera stopped recording, but I think we're good to roll now. So, as I was saying, I felt a little bad for my second opponent because he was using a Fire-type deck, and I was using the Marowak break with Milotic and such. And both of the matches, or both of the battles that I won in that round were won in either my second turn in the first battle or my first turn in the second battle. I think I said that right. Second turn, first battle, second turn, no. Anyways, the second battle that I won, it was kind of crazy. All he had was a Fennekin in the active spot. All I had was a Feebas. He played an energy for his first turn and passed it to me. I played Karina to find myself a Muscle Band. I played Professor's Letter to find a Water Energy. Gave both of them to Feebas. Did 30 damage, times 2 for the weakness, and one-shot the Fennekin. Feebas won me the round, basically. You don't ever see that happen, or at least not very often. And, of course, I did knock out a Manectric-EX one day, too, but that was a whole other thing. Anyways, but yeah, so I did pretty good. I got 2nd place, and the only battle that the only round that I didn't win, I got the loss in, was one on the final turn of the sudden death after time was called. I was currently playing my turn. My opponent took turn 1 after time. I took turn 2. On turn 3, he managed to do some maneuvering of his Pokemon, knocked out my active one to take his 5th prize, but the Pokemon he used was Ho-Oh-EX, which does damage to the bench, knocked out a Cubone on my bench and took his 6th prize. If he hadn't done that, I might have won the tournament, because I wouldn't have had a loss. I would have had a tie for that record, so who's to say what could have happened, but it was a well-played game, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I still like the fact that my Marowak break, and anyway, my non-EX strategies in general, have a chance to stand up in tournaments like that, so I'm quite pleased with how I did in that. And other than that, I just kind of, went around, got some photos, hardly any compared to what I like to get of costumes, but I did some video recording. I hung out with a lot of friends over the weekend, made some new friends as well, and basically just went out and enjoyed my time, like the weekend off for Canada Day weekend in Fredericton, New Brunswick. So that is a brief little recap of Animaritime. As I say, I'm hoping to be able to have more comprehensive, more video footage recap of stuff like this next time I'm able to go to a convention. Anyhow, so let's get on to the rest of the news here. So it is currently July, as you know, and Pokemon 20 rolls on. Shaymin is the mythical Pokemon in question, or not question, in Spotlight for the month of July. So from the day of July 1st to 24th, you can get your Shaymin downloaded in your Pokemon X, Y, Omega Ruby, or Alpha Sapphire game as the mythical distribution. Go to your mystery gift option in the main menu and download via the internet your copy of Shaymin. Now, I haven't done it yet. I don't have my own Shaymin. And, in fact, what I'm going to do is see if I can look up on Pokemon.com. And so, as you can see here, Shaymin does come at level 100, as all the mythical Pokemon are going to be coming. It's got the ability of Natural Cure, and the moves are Seed Flare, Aromatherapy, Substitute, and Energy Ball. So I haven't taken a look at my own, as I said. I haven't downloaded it just yet, but it's, of course, there's going to be nature and stuff like that, but I'm not sure what item it might be holding either. It doesn't say that exactly for sure, but I'm just going to scroll the screen down, and as you can see, or as it says here, if you take your Shaymin and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire to a family on Route 123, you get the Gracidia flower. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it is capable of changing Shaymin into its Sky form, and you can suddenly play it, do setup for 6 extra cards. Wait, no, that's TCG. But anyway, that is how you can get your Shaymin in your video game. Now you can also check out a movie on Pokemon TV, Pokemon Giratina and the Sky Warrior, and this is the movie featuring Shaymin as one of the main characters in it. So if you haven't seen that yet, which I haven't, feel free to check that out. I should probably watch that. I keep saying this all the time whenever a new anime thing is mentioned. I should probably watch that, and then I don't. Why don't I do this? I don't know. I'll see if I can get into it, or get to it at some point. You can also pick up the exclusive figures at Toys R Us. There is, as usual, the 8-inch Crushed Velvet plush of Shaymin, and a 2-inch Shaymin figure as well. That one, I believe, comes with an Ultra Ball, so you can pick those up together, I think. And also coming out is, well, already out for the month of July, is the Pokemon Mythical Collection Shaymin. I haven't picked it up just yet, but I will be getting one of those for myself. It does come with 2 Pokemon Generations booster packs, of course. You get your special Shaymin pin, an online code card to unlock everything in the box, as well as card sleeves and a deck box, I believe. And, of course, you get your full art foil card of Shaymin, as you can see here. Wait, no, that's not the right card. That's the one. So it comes at 70 HP, it's a grass type, and it has Aromatherapy, heal 30 damage from each of your Pokemon. Magical Leaf can do 40 plus, I believe. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 20 more damage, and heal 20 damage from this Pokemon. Okay, so that's what Magical Leaf does. I just sort of lean forward and read the card a little bit better. But that is the the mythical distribution stuff for Shaymin for the month of July for Pokemon 20. And in the world of the video game news now, I feel bad because, as I say, I was busy all weekend, but I believe it was the National Championships took place down in the U.S. I didn't get to watch any of it because I was away for the weekend. I normally like to watch this stuff and do some tweeting along the way and just do video recaps at the end of the day, but I wasn't able to do any of it because I wasn't near my computer and stuff, and hopefully you guys are okay with that, but hopefully you did get to check out some of these National Championship showdowns and seeing some pretty powerful teams, pretty impressive decks back and forth, and I should go back and watch them once they're uploaded. I'm sure they're probably going to be uploaded to the Pokemon YouTube channel, just to sort of see what is the top-ranked strategies for Pokemon, both cards and video game. But in other news, there is a new online competition that has been announced, and I'm mentioning it because I'm more than likely going to be entering it myself. It is called the Sinnoh Classic, and I mention this because it's more than likely that I'm going to participate in this myself, and you'll see why in a moment. So it's similar to the 2008 Pokemon Video Game Showdown, which was one of the first worldwide video game Pokemon championships ever, and that kind of predates my time in the inclusion of the competitive world of Pokemon, so I don't know much about that, but the format for this is apparently going to be pretty much the same, if not identical, to what that was. So it is going to take place in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The format will be double battles, and you are allowed to bring your Pokemon from the earlier games through the Poké Transporter and take part in this. That's why I'm going to be participating. As I usually say, I like to show off the Pokemon that I've been training ever since the Game Boy Advance and give them their chance to shine in these competitions. So that means I can bring them in, so I'm going to go right ahead and do that. Now, you can't use Mega Stones or Soul Dew in this, of course. Those items are going to be prohibited, so no Mega Evolution to worry about. And you can use any of the first 493 Pokemon in the Pokedex, except, of course, certain ones like Legendaries and such, but I have a list here. There's a few other Pokemon that are not permitted, which is kind of interesting to see right here. So for Pokemon you can't use Mewtwo or Mew. You also can't use Dragonite, which is interesting. I think maybe they realized Dragonite's been overused lately in the other online competitions. You also can't use Tyranitar, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Celebi, Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Jirachi, Deoxys, Dialga, Palkia, Heatran, Giratina, Phione, Manaphy, Darkrai, Shaymin, and Arceus. So a lot of the legendary and mythical Pokemon, plus Dragonite and Tyranitar, which is interesting. It's weird they haven't prohibited Metagross, because that's kind of like on the same tier as them, I believe. But anyway, it is what it is. That's the list of Pokemon that are not permitted to be used. So it's going to be neat to see some battles where we don't have a Dragon Dance Extreme Speed Dragonite setting up and sweeping teams. So the registration period begins on Thursday, July 14th, and it runs for a week until Thursday, July 21st. It's open to the first 50,000 participants, so feel free to register as soon as you can so you can get yourself a spot in there. The battle period happens after the registration is over, starting on Friday, July 22nd, going until Sunday, July 24th. You can play up to 15 games per day. That's going to be a lot of content for the channel. Hopefully I get some nice wins out of that so I can provide you guys some pretty cool, impressive battles on the YouTube channel. Now, of course, as these online competitions tend to do, they're giving a participation prize out, and this one is going to be Cynthia's Garchomp. It's going to be a level 66 Garchomp with the ability Sand Veil. The moveset is going to be Dragon Rush, Brick Break, Giga Impact, and Earthquake. So just like the moveset that Cynthia's Garchomp used back in Diamond and Pearl when you took her on as champion. So I always like the participation prize giveaways and such, so I'm going to definitely be entering this and doing my best to get some wins. I'm not sure who I'm going to use just yet, but as we go into later regions with these online competitions, it does open up the field of my collection of Pokemon to bring more of them in here. I'm definitely thinking now's the time to give Skippy the Swampert a good chance, because with only one weakness to grass, he has a pretty good chance of doing some damage and taking some hits from the opposing side. Anyway, so another thing to mention now, getting into the more basic world of Pokemon TCG, or focus I should say on that, on Wednesday, July 13th, which is next Wednesday, so a week from tomorrow, the Venusaur-EX Red and Blue collection for Pokemon TCG is coming out. It is similar as you see, to the Blastoise-EX collection that I have, you're going to get 4 booster packs of Pokemon Generations. You're going to get your nice sculpted figure of the Pokemon in question, which will be Venusaur for that one. You get a special foil Pokemon-EX card of the Pokemon. And as you can see here, I'm going to bring it up on the computer. This is not the actual card. They don't have an image of it just yet. But the Venusaur-EX is going to be based off of the same attacks, I believe, of the XY base set Venusaur-EX. So you see we have Poison Powder that does 60 damage and poisons the opponent. Jungle Hammer does 90 and you heal 30 from the Pokemon. So that is coming out, as I say, Wednesday, July 13th. My goal is to pick one of those up as soon as I can when it comes out. And we're going to retire the Blastoise-EX collection. I'll put the Venusaur one up here. And I'm holding on to these big collections for if we hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel. If and when that happens, I'll be unboxing the collection in a video, giving the code card out. But I also want to do as a landmark 1,000 subscriber video, get a second copy of whatever the latest collection is, and do a physical mail out of that so that somebody out there somewhere can get a copy of this entire box themselves as a nice celebration of hitting 1,000 subscribers. I didn't mention it, but the Shaymin, not EX, the Shaymin collection that I'm picking up, I do want to hang on to that until I hit the next 100 subscriber mark, so 800, at which point I'll do the unboxing in the video like I did for last week with Manaphy. So another nice thing to mention from Pokemon TCG, the Pokemon Generations Elite Trainer box is currently available to purchase at PokemonCenter.com. It's like your basic Elite Trainer box with a few different twists. First of all, you get your standard stuff. I'm going to forget some stuff that's in there. But you get your damage counter dice, you get your competition legal coin flip die, acrylic condition markers, you get your pack of 45 energy cards, 5 of each type, with the nice kind of horizontal lines of the Generations expansion, which is cool. Get your card sleeves, and it shows the Pokemon 20 logo. I believe it comes with the dividers and the box to store your cards. And instead of just 8 booster packs of the Pokemon TCG, you get 10 Generation booster packs in this, as well as a Shaymin-EX that's included in every box. So we take a look here. You'll see it has the... oh, that's the wrong one here. We're going to look at this one here. So not the one that people might have been hoping for with the setup ability, but this Shaymin-EX has 110 HP. The Aroma of Gratitude ability. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from each of your benched basic Pokemon. And Floral Gain does 60, heal 20 damage, and remove all special conditions from this Pokemon. So that is the Shaymin-EX you get in the Generations Elite Trainer box. And if you don't have that yet, go to PokemonCenter.com. You can purchase your own copy of that. Now we're going to move on to another couple quick mentions. Well, before we get into the final mention I want to make, I do want to mention coming up in the 2017 season of Play Pokemon, the standard format of Pokemon TCG is going to be rotated. Certain cards are going to be taken out of the standard format, and we're going to have to update our decks and sort of, work with the new strategies that are coming out. This is going to be a lot of information. I might want to save it. In fact, I do want to save it for next week when I can get more in-depth with it. But as a general overview, when 2017 season starts up, the only cards legal to be used in standard format are going to start with the X and Y Primal Clash set and on to the current sets. So a number of interesting cards are not going to be in the standard format. Most primarily, the first thing that comes to my mind, Night March. Those predate the Primal Clash set, so in standard, Night March will not exist anymore. But I'm going to save more in-depth details for that and probably till next week. We still got time before the 2017 season starts up anyhow. But they have announced a few more cards, or rather revealed a few more cards, of the upcoming Steam Siege expansion. Let's take a look at these right now. Now, first of all, we look at the dual type of Azumarill, a fairy and water type. And it's funny, I didn't pay attention to this before, but every dual type card seems to be the shiny version of the Pokemon, except maybe Volcanion. I don't think they gave it the shiny colors on that, because maybe it's its first time in the TCG. But anyway, we see here Azumarill, the dual type of fairy water. Player Rough does 30 plus, flip a coin if heads, 30 more. And for 2 fairy and a colorless, Bubble Dream does 80, and you heal 30 from Azumarill. Now, this next one is kind of insane. Talonflame, a Stage 2 Pokemon, bear that in mind. It is colorless type, and the ability Gale Wings. If this Pokemon is in your hand when you are setting up to play, you may put it face down as your active Pokemon. You can start your game with a Stage 2 in play immediately. A nice thing about this Pokemon is for 1 energy, Aeroblitz does a mediocre 40 damage. I say mediocre, that's enough to one-shot a number of things, but decent 40 damage I'll call it. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Doesn't have to be a certain type like Energy or Pokemon or Trainer. Any 2 cards you want, Talonflame can draw out of the deck for you. Plus, it has free retreat. If you set it as your active Pokemon when you start the game, set something more defensive on your bench, you can then, on your first turn, freely retreat Talonflame, put that other thing up, and start preparing your Talonflame for potential Break evolution. As you see here, Talonflame Break is in this set, and it goes into a fire type, goes up to 170 HP. Flare Blitz for 2 fire energy, does 150 damage, discard all fire energy attached to this Pokemon. Now, I was hoping Flare Blitz would have been a little bit more like in the video game where it does recoil damage, but I guess losing the energy is not that big of a draw, or it is a drawback, so it's not that different of a drawback. However, there are ways to retrieve that energy, such as if you give it 2 burning energy cards, those come right back onto it no matter what. You can continuously do this Flare Blitz for 150. It's going to be pretty powerful. I really like the Gale Wings ability, though, that you get to start the game with your Stage 2 already in play. 130 HP, so it's going to take a couple of hits probably, and like I say, 40 damage for the attack. If I was battling it with my Marowak Break deck and had Feebas, that's game. I'm done. I can't do anything more than that. But those are a few more cards from the Steam Siege expansion that have been revealed. And I believe that's all I do want to mention for this week. There's a few other things, like I say, like the new standard rotation of TCG. But I'm going to save that for a video that is not already currently too long. So I want to cut... Wait, there is one last thing I want to mention regarding Animaritime. I almost forgot this. I have this sitting right here to remind me. A friend of mine decided, because I am kind of well known for my Goku costume in the Animaritime convention stuff, scene like that. Now, she gave me this nice box, and if you open it up inside, you'll see that I have 6 of the 7 Dragon Balls. Now, you're thinking 6, well, they're no good. You need all 7 to make your wish. However, last year, she did give me the other Dragon Ball, the 4-star. So now, when I add this to the collection, I have all 7 Dragon Balls. I wonder what I'm going to wish for. I don't know. This is one of those things you have to really put a lot of thought into. So I'm going to hang on to these for now, but the 7 Dragon Balls are all mine. Alright, so with that out of the way, I want to say thank you to my friend Shelly, who did give me those Dragon Balls, and I now have the whole set. So now is the time. I'm going to be opening up the BREAKpoint booster pack to see what cards I get and grab that code card for you guys for next week, or rather this Sunday coming up. But we're going to end off with the question of the day. So as I said, I celebrated at Animaritime this weekend. 4th of July was on Monday, Canada Day was on Friday. The whole weekend was a nice possible weekend of celebration for everybody in North America. The question of the day is, how did you spend your holiday weekend? Did you go on a trip anywhere? Did you just kind of relax with your friends? And whatever you did, just feel free to leave me a comment down below and include the hashtag QOTD with your comment. And you're going to go into the running for the BREAKpoint booster pack code card that I'm going to pull out of here. I'm going to do the drawing on Sunday, July 10th. So you have a little under a week to get your responses in. And like I said, just let me know what you did for your holiday weekend and how you enjoyed it and if it was a good time. With that out of the way, it is time to quickly open up the BREAKpoint booster pack. I should probably just open it right here. I usually do not do this properly. I can't show the cards off very well. I'm still going to do it. I just want to cut through this quickly. I don't know how much more recording time I have, plus I don't want the video to get too long. So let us slide these cards out. And code card, I think it stayed inside the pack actually. That might be pretty handy. It did. Alright, so there's the code card. Like I said, I'm going to hold on to that until Sunday, July 10th, and randomly choose one person that responds to the question of the day with the hashtag to win that card, or that code. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if I can show these off. So starting with the common cards, of course, we have a Slowpoke. Here is a Skorupi. A Gibble with Never Enough attack. And Psyduck. Last common is going to be a Furfrou. So the uncommons begin with a Misty's Determination. Discard a card from your hand, and if you do, look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand. Not too bad. And the next uncommon we have is a Splash Energy. You can only attach to water Pokemon. It provides water energy. And if the water Pokemon this card is attached to, I think we'll move it closer, if it would be knocked out, instead of discarding it, you put the Pokemon cards into your hand and discard all other cards attached to it. The last uncommon is going to be a Potion for healing 30 damage. The reverse foil card is a Great Ball, pretty fancy looking. The rare card of the BREAKpoint pack is going to be a Trevenant with the Nervous Seed. All of the opponent's basic Pokemon, well, if it's active, all of the opponent's basic Pokemon need 1 more energy to be able to attack, which does help out the energy press attack, because you do more damage based on how much energy the opponent's active Pokemon has. 70 plus 10 more for each of those. So that is what I got out of the pack. Hopefully I showed the cards off decently enough. I need to get a camera that I can sort of see, you know, the viewfinder. I can flip it around, right? Because I'm just using my phone. So eventually, as this channel builds and I can put more, you know, funds into it, I'm going to be able to get more stuff. Like I said I think I mentioned last week, I have a tripod for my digital camera now, so I can record live matches at the Heroes Beacon Pokemon League. Anyway, all that being said, once again, for your chance to win that code card, question of the day is, how did you spend your holiday weekend? Just leave that response below, hashtag QOTD in the comment, and you have a chance to win that code card on Sunday, July 10th when I do the random drawing. With all that, I'm going to end off the video. I got to get it edited and uploaded quickly so I can get this ready to roll. I also got to edit the other Pokemon Silver episode for later today. So I want to say thank you for checking out the news update video today, folks, and I'll catch you next time.